Milky Mommy alert! Just days after billionaire investor Paul Tudor Jones announcing he has roughly 2% of his assets into Bitcoin, multi-trillion-dollar bank JP Morgan extending banking services to Bitcoin exchanges. Guys, this is huge. We're going to be talking about this in this update. Many of you guys might remember 2 years ago, JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan absolutely telling how Bitcoin is a huge fraud, right? Absolutely against Bitcoin, guys. Well, fast forward to the year 2020 and everything is changing. We'll tell you why Bitcoin is quickly becoming one of the most legitimate things in finance. And as well, Bitcoin is currently holding this Fibonacci golden pocket level absolutely amazingly. 3 entire days bouncing below this level, but all 3 days so far finding support right here. We'll say what this means. And as well, even more importantly, this 6-year trend line is still holding. Granted, it's been pretty ugly, but it is still holding this key support. Will it continue? And what are some price projections going in for the next few months? Could Bitcoin be setting up for a rally straight up to 14, 15K and potentially breaking these lower highs? Some top crypto traders in the space predict that that could be a reality. We'll get into that as well. Wow, and now as the halving has finally come to pass, can we let our juice loose or do we have to store it in our caboose? Well, let's get juicing. Wow, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to an exciting update. We have a lot to get into, guys. Yesterday also was extremely exciting. So much going on in the space. If you went around and you checked out some live streams, unfortunately some were taken down, Cointelegraph specifically, but guys, if you went around, there were some record numbers in these live streams, which means record interest. People really wanted to see and be a part of this event. Huge. As expected, the price didn't do anything. Okay, nothing really ever happens the day the halving occurs. It's more of a long-term signal. Okay, the block reward getting halved down to 6.25 BTCs per block. Honestly, such an exciting time. It's basically Bitcoin's birthday, guys, but we have a lot to get into. Some more bullish news, and as expected, one billionaire comes out with some positive news, and almost immediately further billionaires, they further react to this news and they get involved in one way or the other. Guys, before we really get into it though, I mean, looking back, if you guys have been in this space for more than a year or so, you guys remember 2017, 2018, this space was looked at as a scam. It's looked at as a fraudulent space, right? And you rewind even back years before that, before I was even involved back in like 2012, 2013, it was considered even more of a criminal space. Bitcoin itself was considered to be used like a currency you buy drugs with. But now we're in the year 2020, and that is the furthest thing from the truth. Literally, the biggest players in financial markets are interested, invested, and looking forward to Bitcoin to potentially be the best return on investment of any asset. And you can't blame them because it already has been, okay? So absolutely massive. So guys, we will be giving away this ledger at the end of the webisode, so make sure, but if you want to enter for the future giveaways, make sure to smash the dings, smash the comments, smash the likes, smash the subscribes. And as well, you guys, still for a limited time only, if you click the link in the description, you can get a Ledger S for 50% off. I have the direct link, it'll take you right to the sales page. We Are the Bull Run is all the code you have to enter there to get 50% off. Guys, I'm personally buying right now as well, so I can give away these ledgers for a little cheaper. Instead of just buying them at a full price, I'm getting them 50% off. And I advise you do the same, guys, because these kind of sales do not come along often. $30 for a Ledger S. Now that is a steal. Instead of wasting your hard-earned cash on a corn dog and a margarita, why not invest in storing your crypto safely? Huge, guys. Thanks so much for joining. So without any further ado, let's get into some of the news here, guys. So let's actually start here. We can review some of the charts. The weekly chart holding beautifully. It was very volatile. We were seeing swings in price swings by the hundreds of dollars happening yesterday in anticipation leading up to the halving. For the most part, everybody understood that really the price was probably not going to do anything major yesterday, but there were still some people hoping that maybe we'd have some kind of break to the upside or downside just because the halving was happening. But guys, as we mentioned, this looks really good, okay? This is a really beautiful setup so far on the chart. If we look on this macro chart, everything is even more pretty in my opinion. We have higher lows, we have lower highs, we have consolidation, and in my opinion, everything coming out in terms of Bitcoin's news, not to mention the technicalities in regards to the halving, everything, it's all incredibly bullish, okay? So, and I'm not talking about a week from now, we're talking down the road, but specifically within the next few months as well. I'm really not concerned what Bitcoin's price will do tomorrow, but we will provide some short-term analysis here. So one thing to note, guys, it's been a few ugly days ever since May 10th, so about 2 days, we've been really fighting along this line. You've seen we had 3 substantial wicks and 3 substantial bounces as well here. But other than that, we've been holding really strongly above 8,000, which is key. In fact, we've been holding basically above 82 for the most part. We did dip slightly below 81 a little bit on May 10th. But for the most part, we've been holding really well. We zoom out, you guys know why this is such an important level. I think to remain bullish for the short term, as long as we remain above this in the short term, then I consider that really bullish. If we break below this in the short term, then we could start to see a potential dump that everybody's talking about. Because let's be honest, we had a $2,000 dump, guys, but that's not, I mean, in Bitcoin's world, that's not even really considered a major dump, okay? We're already about only $1,000 away where we were from that high 4 days ago anyway. So really not anything substantial there. We have not really had a big dump, and we haven't had a massive pump necessarily either. Aside from the very end of April where we went from, 7,500 to 9,500 and then continue to climb all the way up to 10,000 US dollars. So really importantly as well, the last 365 days Fibonacci retracement golden pocket right here, we've had 3 consecutive daily candles that have bounced out of this golden pocket, closed inside of this golden pocket, between the 0.65 and the 618. So this is our third one, okay? This one so far is pretty green, but you can see exactly where we're facing resistance, the very top of this golden pocket. So obviously this whole zone right here is providing a lot of resistance. If we're going to get a breakout, it would be above this, which would put us right around like 89. So we need to break, let's round up. We need to break roughly $9,000 before we might see another retest of 10K. But now what are the chances that we actually get a much bigger pump? So there are some people actually calling, some top crypto traders in the space, calling for 14 to 15K burst. Now that would absolutely be huge. So let's take a look before we actually get into that. Let's take a look at what that would look like on this chart. So this is back right here is the end of 2017. So we basically have our entire relevant market in the screen right now. So let's say over the next 2 weeks, we do get a pump over to like 14 or 15K. Guys, this is what that would look like. Okay, that doesn't look huge on this chart, but this is 2.5 years of data. So that's actually massive. It's a huge jump. And more importantly, why that's so important is because not only is it massive, it breaks the most key levels that we've been unable to break since December of 2017. We would finally be setting our first higher highs, as right now we have 3 lower highs from the original high. Second lower high, and this is our third lower high. Look at that, guys. So you can see here, just putting in lower highs, if we would get a burst, then the entire environment would change. Everything goes out the window and it goes absolute bull mode if that would happen. Now, what are the chances of that happening and what are the reasonings for that happening? So for that, let's actually dip our toes into this article. Top crypto traders predict Bitcoin price direction after Bitcoin halving. So again, this is not within the next few days, but it could be happening within the next month or two here. So let's take a deep dive here. Following the 20% drop, traders remain divided on where the Bitcoin price would go next. Some traders believing Bitcoin could go immediately and see an upsurge to 14,000 to 15,000 US dollarinos. Historically, when Bitcoin's price saw an extended rally, it went past key resistance levels with ease. So this is actually super important, and I want to take a pause here and actually talk about this. Guys, the biggest bursts in Bitcoin aren't, really prolonged. They don't happen over 2, 3, 4 months, okay? They happen in very tight ranges. When Bitcoin blows up, it happens extremely quickly. Okay, look at this. In less than 2 months, we go from $3,000 to $14,000. And look at this. We range for basically an entire year and do nothing. Look at this. Massive drop all within about a week or two, okay? Look at this. A month to go from $4,000 to $20,000. So Bitcoin's price primarily, when it pumps, it happens extremely, extremely fast. Most of Bitcoin's trading is actually sideways. Bitcoin, for the most part, trades sideways most of the time, and majority of the price action to the upside and the downside happens in a very, very small amount of time. So here, for instance, it took Bitcoin 28 days to go from 8,000 to 20,000 in the last month of 2017. Okay, in June of 2018, Bitcoin's price rose from 7,500 to 1,400 in 7,500 to 14,000 in just 3 weeks. So Bitcoin's price has a tendency to increase by a very large margin in a very short period of time, especially when met with huge demand from retail investors, guys, and that's kind of what we're seeing as well. Okay, now additionally, there's some people forecasting 14 to 15K, and some people are forecasting 6K. Both of these line up really importantly with what I've been saying. I specifically think anything above 6,500 is decent. Anything above 8,000 is amazing in terms of a pullback. Anything below 6,500 is extremely bad in my opinion. So anybody calling for like 3, 4, 5K, which you don't really hear people really calling for that too much anymore. You did hear that about a month ago. I think people realize like that doesn't make much sense, but 4 or 5K guys, that if that would happen, things would be really bad and the market could be in a very bad position. But clearly, that's not what we're seeing. If that would happen, then we could switch our tune a little bit. But specifically, as long as we hold above 6,500 at the worst case, then this is actually looking really good. So here, the primary bullish scenario following Bitcoin's block reward halving that just happened yesterday on May 11th is a breakout out of the major trend line above the $14,000 mark, which dates back all the way to 2017. In the past year, Bitcoin's price moved within a large multi-year cycle established by its record high at $20,000 US and its June 2019 peak at $14,000. And every single time that Bitcoin has gotten close to that level, it's gotten rejected, okay? It's the chart we just showed you. You see it just gets rejected each and every single time there. So cryptocurrency trader on Twitter, Satoshi Flipper, actually says, I'm still betting on breaking through the upper trend line resistance and price action heading north. No way are my convictions changing because of some clowns selling Bitcoin and price tanking for one day. Okay, again, we're still really bullish here. We did have a dump a few days ago, but I think for the most part, people that have been in the space long enough realize that that is completely normal and it has absolutely no impact whatsoever on the long-term price of Bitcoin. Okay, and then they actually talk about something I've been talking about for a few days, specifically a few videos about it. Look what happened last time. We had 7 consecutive green candles, a doji candle, followed by a 160% increase, and they're talking about back into the summer of 2019. Pretty important there. And this is kind of a little summary of a bearish scenario, which Bitcoin's price could drop to as low as 6,500, which is what we've been saying. So even these people that are bearish are saying 6,500 is like the low target, which is amazing. If we don't break 6,500, guys, we're absolutely golden. Absolutely nothing to worry about. I know a lot of you would probably be in the comments being like, oh my goodness, oh my good golly gracious, we dropped to $7,000, we dropped to 68, we dropped to 6,500 US. Guys, that would be normal. It would be normal. It wouldn't be our optimal scenario, obviously, but it would still be within that range where everything is still kind of going according to plan. The mid 6,000 area in between 64 and 66 carries significant historical importance. Back in the third quarter of 2019, Bitcoin's price dropped from 10.5K to 6.5K, consolidating in that range for 4 weeks, and then broke out again to 10.5K in February of 2020. Okay, a drop to 6,400 would solidify the mid 6,000 support area, which is huge. And guys, let's keep in mind, we'll actually get back to this, but keep in mind, we still have this huge CME gap. Look at this. We need to go all the way up to about roughly $10,000 to fill this gap. Now, that's really important. We don't have a gap to the downside. In fact, this time we have a gap to the upside. So we could, in the short term, actually see a nice price pump, guys. That would be incredibly exciting. And maybe we could even get a pump above, if we break 10.5K again, maybe we could go 11, 12, 13, and this 14 to 15K prophecy could actually become true. Okay, so absolutely massive. Let me know what you guys think about that. And now I really want to delve into this, guys, because this is huge. So JP Morgan opens accounts for Bitcoin exchanges. Coinbase and Gemini are the first up here. So this $2.6 trillion bank, JP Morgan, will begin offering bank accounts to Gemini and Coinbase. Per the banking relationship solidified last month, JP Morgan will provide deposit, withdrawal, and transferring services for these two exchanges, Coinbase and Gemini. Absolutely massive, okay? If anything, this is just further validating Bitcoin. And honestly, guys, look at this from a bigger picture. People are more able and should feel more comfortable getting into Bitcoin. It's becoming seen as something less and less risky. What's happened over the past few months has been absolutely huge for Bitcoin because people are starting to see the US dollar as a wasting asset, which it is. 100 years ago, your dollar would get you so much more than what a US dollar will get you now. You could get eggs, milk, bread, cheese, Go-Gurt, Fun Dip, everything for like $1 100 years ago. Nowadays you can't even get a lollipop for $1, guys. This is absolutely outrageous. But with Bitcoin, you can get as many lollipops as you could ever imagine. So this news is significant not just because of JP Morgan's staunch stance against crypto in the past, but because this could open avenues for better banking relationships for Bitcoin companies going forward. That's absolutely the point. Okay, this helps legitimize the space even more, and that's all we've really seen in the past year and a half is more and more legitimacy for the space. And remember, guys, 2 years ago, JP Morgan would come out and say Bitcoin is a fraud. Jamie Dimon, the CEO, saying it's a scam. Now look at them. You don't hear them saying that anymore because it's not a fraud. Bitcoin is not a scam. In fact, it's probably the most legitimate currency, the most legitimate asset that we have, okay? So we have a quote here. It's quite significant news in my opinion. There is little business in fees associated with this type of partnership. This person expects that there are other associated benefits for JP Morgan from an associated banking services, additional collab with both of those firms, potential for winning a future IPO. So what they're saying there is basically there's probably some deep-seated reasons why they're doing this that doesn't have to do with the little fees that they're getting, but some long-term things that they can benefit from. The largest bank offering crypto exchange services means a lot for credibility in the space, okay? Cannot deny that. Absolutely huge. I definitely agree with that. Okay, so we'll do the last 6 videos, generate. Oh, number 5 again. I believe that's what it was last time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're going to copy the URL here. All right, paste it in there. Let's see how many comments we had on that one. We had 315 unique comments. Let's hit the thing. Let's do this. Mike Lambert, have been new to Bitcoin and altcoins this year and have learned the hard way. Just a hodler until we see the 100K level. Wow, congrats Mike Lambert. Make sure to shoot me a DM, get in contact with me, and we can ship out this bad boy ledger. And as well, if you're not in the US, we can send you Bitcoin instead. And as well, guys, make sure to leave a comment for this ledger. And if you're bummed about not winning the ledger, guys, this is your best chance to get a ledger for 50% off because of the Bitcoin halving. Make sure to click the link in the description or the comments below to get that bad boy. Guys, and if you're interested in learning a lot about what I think is important in regards to long-term trading with TA, definitely make sure to take advantage of our $40 off juice coupon. Guys, absolutely huge. Link is also in the description in the comments for that. Keep on smashing, my munchers.